pre-order your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book project, The Go-Go Offense by Brennan Marion. Now, Coach Marion is the offensive coordinator at William & Mary and takes you through the ins and outs of the most explosive offense that's lighting up the college football fields and scoreboards in the process. You can pre-order your copy at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Now, the release of the Go-Go Offense book is August 25th. Welcome to Football Game Plan, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the Playbook. Mike McCarthy is your producer today. It's the summertime and preseason is just around the corner in the NFL, and we'll get you ready for the upcoming 2019 NFL season as we preview the Buffalo Bills. Now, as we kick off the season preview, let us take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense.
Last season, Josh Allen completed 52% of his passes in 12 games for just over 2,000 yards. His strong arm allows him to throw deep with efficiency, but his short and intermediate game leave a lot to be desired. Look for Brian Daboll to bring more college-style schemes with him from Alabama to develop a more dynamic Bills offense for Allen in his first season as a starter. Speaking of the offense in Buffalo, what does veteran Frank Gore add? The 36-year-old is coming off of his second lowest rushing yardage output in his career in 2018 down with Miami. Does he still have the legs to contribute to the Bills' backfield? Backing up LaShawn McCoy should keep him fresh enough to rotate in a few series per game, and in short yardage situations as well. On defense, it'll be interesting to see if Ed Oliver is worth all the hype. After his freshman year at Houston, he was touted as the first overall pick, after a dominant display with 5 sacks and 22 TFLs. His stats dipped in his sophomore and junior seasons, leading him to fall in many mock drafts in 2018. But a strong showing at the 2019 Scouting Combine led to him being drafted 9th overall. Will he be the next Aaron Donald? You'll have to wait for next season to find out. Can Sean McDermott's defense lead the Bills back to the playoffs? As a rookie head coach in 2017, the Bills made the playoffs after a 9-7 season. Though they lost to the Jaguars in the wildcard round, they laid a good foundation for McDermott's tenure. They took a step back in 2018, but they also found a star on defense in Tremaine Edmunds. Along with his fellow defensive standouts, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White, and Lorenzo Alexander, look for the Bills to have another strong defense in 2019 with the addition of Ed Oliver up front.
It's time to put this team under the microscope and go position by position to see where they stand as we head into the 2019 season, and we'll start on the offensive side of the ball at the quarterback position. The Bills took Josh Allen last year in the first round with a top 10 pick with the expectation that he was going to be their franchise quarterback. While he had some wild moments last year, both in the passing game and in the running game, there were still far too many of the same inconsistencies and inaccuracies that plagued him back at Wyoming. The hope and expectation is that he takes a bigger step in year 2 out there in Buffalo. Now, there is some optimism to believe that is very possible, considering that they've added talent along the offensive line, at wide receiver, tight end, and also even in the backfield. Training camp should be an interesting one as Matt Barkley and undrafted rookie free agent Tyree Jackson out of Buffalo, who is a lot like Josh Allen, will battle it out for the QB2 spot on the roster. I think the backfield will be counted on heavily this year to get the offense going. They built a really good unit with the addition of Frank Gore and rookie Devin Singletary out of Florida Atlantic, who's actually a cross between both Gore and LaShawn McCoy. Buffalo also went out and added TJ Yeldon in free agency, who's a very good receiver in the passing game, both short to intermediate and also deep down the field, giving the Bills a quartet of solid backs that can get the job done on game day. One area where Buffalo wanted to get better was on the perimeter. In free agency, they attacked the receiver position heavily by signing deep threat John Brown and the shifty Cole Beasley from the Cowboys. Last year, we saw the emergence of undrafted rookie free agent Robert Foster, and the club still has high hopes for Zay Jones. Foster had the best rapport with Allen last season and figures to be heavily featured in this offense this upcoming year, and I'm interested in the role that they have in store for Beasley, as he left Dallas to be more of a featured guy after figuring out that he was pigeonholed within that Cowboys offense. At tight end, the Bills will look completely different this upcoming season. It's safe to say that they've upgraded in this area. In the draft, they doubled down on a position by taking Dawson Knox of Ole Miss and Tommy Sweeney out of Boston College. Knox was your classic H-back prospect, while Sweeney is your classic inline guy, sort of like Pete Metzelaars if you want to use a throwback Bill reference. But they also signed Tyler Kroft in free agency from the Bengals, who gives them a classic flex guy. So they have your ideal fits at flex, H-back, and also inline within their offense. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them use all three on the field at the same time to gain an advantage on the defense on both ends of offense. The offensive line features potentially 4 new starters with Quentin Spain, Mitch Morse, Spencer Long, and Ty Nsekhe coming over via free agency. Now, the only holdover from last year that's penciled in as a starter right now is left tackle Deion Dawkins, and it's not guaranteed that he's going to stay there, as they also drafted tackle Cody Ford out of Oklahoma in the first round to hold down at least a right tackle job, which could push a guy like Nsekhe to the left side. So we'll see how that's going to shake out, but continuity is king along the offensive line, so we'll see how quickly these guys can develop the cohesiveness needed to thrive up front. And here's a look at how I grade out this Buffalo Bills offense. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, and the Bills' defensive line looks fantastic. They are both deep and talented. Gone is Kyle Williams, but in comes rookie first-round pick Ed Oliver, who should provide an immediate impact up front. Jerry Hughes and Trent Murphy are solid bookends, and I'm excited to see the growth and progression in Harrison Phillips' game this upcoming season. I also believe Eddie Yarbrough and Mike Love are an underrated group of edge rushers, and keep an eye on their 7th-round pick Darryl Johnson out of North Carolina A&T, one of the best pass rushers at the FCS level. Now, they may be thin on the interior unless Star Lotulelei, and Jordan Phillips can raise their level of play this upcoming year. Now, the second level has some very good athleticism with Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, and the wily vet Lorenzo Alexander. And I don't think Alexander is ever going to get old. He's still playing at a high level for the Bills. Expect an even bigger jump this year from Edmonds, who was in on a ton of plays last season on both ends of defense. Reserve Eli Harrell brings a pass rushing presence, and 5th-round draft pick Voshon Joseph out of Florida can play any one of the 3 spots at the second level, but could be slated for early special teams duty before making a dent in the regular defense during the season. Where the Bills have excellent personnel, though, is in the secondary. Tre'Davious White is one of the better corners in the game and is entering his 3rd season as the Bills' #1 corner. They wanted to get him a running mate on the opposite side, and they're taking a chance on former first-round pick Kevin Johnson, who they signed via free agency after an injury-plagued tenure in Houston. Look for second-year player Taron Johnson to perhaps make a claim for that role, or at least start inside at the slot corner position. And I'm a big fan of his game because he has great instincts and ball skills. So do the Bills duo at safety in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Their versatility also is what makes them great. They're so interchangeable at safety while showing the ability to match up one-on-one in coverage. Buffalo also has solid depth here with Raphael Bush, Levi Wallace, and EJ Gaines, amongst others. And here's how I grade out this entire defensive unit for Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills were able to add to their tight end depth this offseason by drafting Tommy Sweeney out of Boston College, Dawson Knox out of Ole Miss, and bringing in Tyler Kroft from the Cincinnati Bengals. I think utilizing all 3 on the field at the same time could help them win in the red zone and help out their young quarterback, Josh Allen. I'm sorry to show you what we're talking about here. Inside the red zone, you have all 3 tight ends on one side. Sweeney right here in line because he's one of the better inline blockers. We're going to put Dawson Knox right here just inside of Tyler Kroft. I like Kroft on the outside because I like him more as a downfield threat as a receiver. And I'm a big fan of Robert Foster and what he did last year for the Buffalo Bills. So we're going to put him tightly aligned to the line of scrimmage on the backside. Just going to run him on a post. So again, either a safety is going to have to run with him, got one-on-one maybe with a corner, with a safety probably cheating over top, which just opens everything up for these 3 tight ends to work on the right side. So just a little small play action fake here by Josh Allen, drop back, and we're going to bring Tommy Sweeney out, up, and over the middle of the field, taking your standard inline tight end arc release up and then over, give him an option over the middle of the field. We're going to leak Dawson Knox underneath and across on the drag. I like him as a catch and run threat in the passing game. You saw a lot of this at Ole Miss. Well, the few times they went to him, you saw this at Ole Miss. And we're going to bring Tyler Kroft up into the corner. I like his ability there as a guy that can really shake free here at the top of his stem and break to the corner. But you give Josh Allen options. You can even run him on a post and have a pseudo layers concept type deal going on. But the point is you have Buffalo now with great options at tight end which could eventually expand their passing game and make them multi-dimensional, not only in running the football behind these three good options, but also throwing the football to these guys downfield in the passing game. One of the best moves this offseason for the Buffalo Bills was the drafting of Ed Oliver, giving them a guy up front to go along with that very good defense already, giving them a guy that can definitely pressure the quarterback and also be a factor versus the run. And what I'm talking about when you're talking about Ed Oliver, you're speaking of a versatile guy that can line up anywhere across the front. You could have him as a 3 technique here, outside shade of the guard. You could have him as a 0 tech over the nose. His quickness can beat a slower center to either side of the A gap. You can also play him inside right here as a 1, or even over the tackle as a 5. 4-eye. You can even line him up as a 7, or put him out there as a 7 and have him rush from the outside. Ed Oliver gives Buffalo a very good defensive player that they can move around the formation. Each week, his technique could change depending on the matchup, and that's why you want to get guys that are very versatile, explosive, and dynamic, because you can just find a weak link. This week it may be the tight end, it may be the tackle, guard, center guard, or the left tackle. You put Ed Oliver in a position where he can have success. And this Buffalo Bills defense has the potential to be really scary and probably one of the best ones in the AFC this upcoming season.
I actually like the quarterback position for one reason. Volume is king. And a gentleman named Louis Riddick always says this: sponsorship. Buffalo Bills are looking to sponsor this guy, and that's Josh Allen. They're going to give him every opportunity to fail or succeed. And no matter what he does, because he can run the ball, and that is his strong suit, strong arm, but his strong suit is his ability to run at this stage of his career, he's going to get you fantasy points. He's going to have the ball in his hands very often, so he's a guy to look out for. Keep him in mind, folks. I think that he's going to have a pretty big fantasy season. The running back position is a little shaky. Shady McCoy, as he sits, has never really been a goal line carry guy. Usually the touchdowns he accrued in the past came from several yards out or in the passing game. So I would actually stay away from the Buffalo Bills backfield because, again, they have a quarterback who can run the ball. He's a big, strong guy. He'll probably get more goal line work than any of the running backs on this team, especially with a guy like Shady McCoy being the lead back right now. But watch out for Devin Singletary out of FAU. They do like that guy. The receiver position is an oddity because it's either new guys or deep threat guys. So you got guys like John Brown, Robert Foster, even Zay Jones, who's been forgotten of late. Listen, these guys are your quintessential stay away froms in PPR leagues because they're not going to get a lot of short passes thrown to them. They'll be the guys that you get as your number 4 receiver in more of a standard league or a best ball league. That's the type of guy that you want to pursue from the Buffalo Bills roster as far as receiver, because they're going to end up with numbers like their number 1 receiver will probably have numbers like 51 catches for 810 yards and 7 touchdowns. So that'll probably be John Brown or even Robert Foster. And then tight end position is a position in flux. They lost Charles Clay. They have Dawson Knox in there, currently slotted as the guy. But with young tight ends, you never know what's going to be produced, so stay away on this team. You really want to only pursue on this team the quarterback position from a fantasy football standpoint or the defense position. I actually like what their defense offers. It was one of the better defenses in the NFL last year, and they only got better with the addition of Ed Oliver. So watch out for them.
Troy Anthony here, bringing you the best bets for the Buffalo Bills. The opening win line for the Bills is over under 6.5 wins. I like the over 6.5 wins for minus 167. They have the 9th easiest strength of schedule this season, and both sides of the ball look to have improved. At minus 110, I'm looking for the over in their Week 1 matchup at the Jets. It's over 38.5 points. Both matchups with the Jets last year easily went over 38.5, and both teams have made huge improvements to their offense. That's all for now. I'm Troy Anthony. Follow me on Twitter at FootballFandom, replacing the O's with the zeros.
I'm David Hassagen, and this is Huddle Up with Hassagen, as we'll fire off some quick takes for the Buffalo Bills, starting with this year's breakout candidate, Emery. Who do you have?
Offensively, I'm going to go Zay Jones, wide receiver. I think this is a year he finds his niche, he turns the light on, all those cliches, and really steps up and become a big playmaker for this offense. Defensively, Saron Neal, defensive back, second-year player from Jacksonville. So we covered him a lot with our FCS podcast and whatnot. I think this year, because of his versatility, has the ability to play safety, maybe down as a weak side linebacker, certain nickel looks, but I think he's going to be a big-time performer defensively for these guys.
Let's talk about some breakout rookies for this team. A lot of hype, a lot of youth in this team this year. What rookies are you looking at to break out?
There's a ton to pick from, but I will say offensive lineman Cody Ford. They brought him in specifically to be the starting right tackle. When you look at Cody Ford and what he brings to the table, he's a guy that can help out their running game, which will then give Josh Allen time in the pocket off play action and things like that. And defensively, it's the obvious choice, Ed Oliver out of Houston. He can line up anywhere within the front seven and be disruptive.
Definitely a scary player. You've been watching. Who are the big training camp surprises for Buffalo this season?
Quietly, I think it's going to be their undrafted rookie free agent quarterback Tyree Jackson out of Buffalo, who's just like Josh Allen and what he brings to the table, both strengths and areas of improvement. I think because he's so similar to their starter, he's going to look just like their starter in the preseason when compared to Matt Barkley, who I thought did really well last year in his opportunity. So I would say Tyree Jackson, number one. And the free agent signee, Kevin Johnson, the cornerback, I like this guy coming out of Wake Forest. Health has been his biggest issue. I think he can stay healthy this year and prove to be a huge asset opposite Tre'Davious White out there on the corner.
Who are the X factors for Buffalo to get over the hump this season?
Well, Buffalo's X factors, to me, you look at wide receiver Cole Beasley. I think when you look at Beasley coming from the Cowboys, has a lot to prove, and he's going to have an opportunity to prove that here. He wants to prove he's more than just a slot guy, and that's going to be big for him because Josh Allen will have to improve in the short to intermediate area. Beasley can operate in that area really well. That can help him break out, and then also going deep down the field. And defensive end Shaq Lawson, I believe, it's time, again, just like Zay Jones, it's time for a guy like Shaq Lawson to step up and realize his potential, and the big reason why they drafted him when they did a couple of years ago.
Big season for Lawson, to be sure. Reason for optimism, reason for pessimism for the Buffalo Bills.
I think you have to be optimistic with the defense. You look at how good this defense is. They add Ed Oliver. They have so much talent on that side of the ball. They got guys that can take the ball away in the secondary. They're fast and athletic at the second level. Offensively, you can be optimistic by the growth of what you expect from your second-year quarterback. The run game should be better. The fact that they added 3 tight ends, that should give you some optimism, which could then open up the play-action passing game. Now, if I look at a concern, the biggest concern is what if Josh Allen doesn't take that next step? And he's more of what we saw last year at quarterback. If he doesn't take the next step, then Buffalo could be in trouble offensively with their defense being really good, but their offense not being able to take advantage of those added possessions. Emery Hunt, the czar of the Playbook here. Joining me now is fellow football game plan analyst Troy Anthony for this 4 Downs with the czar segment, continuing our preview of the Buffalo Bills. And as we take a look at the road to the Super Bowl for the Bills, you look at their last year first round selection, their quarterback, their franchise quarterback, and Josh Allen. If he can improve consistency-wise, I think they have a chance, because what you like about him, and, you know, talent-wise and all that stuff, we'll get into that. But what I like about Allen is that he's tough. He's not afraid of pressure. So give me the guy that's tough. Give me the guy that's not afraid of pressure, and I can win with that guy. We know he's an athlete. He showed that last year. I think he had more rushing yards than Lamar Jackson, contrary to popular belief. Yeah. Here's a guy in Allen that can also be that 11th guy on the field. If he can improve from a consistency standpoint in the passing game, 52% is not going to cut it in today's NFL. He has to start hitting the layups. You know, yeah, he can throw the football deep down the field, but if there's a guy streaking wide open, you got to hit him. You got to find that. If there's a guy in the intermediate area of the field that's wide open running against coverage, you got to hit him. Short flat passes, you got to hit that. If he can find a way to hit the layups, his completion percentage will improve. I know they've added Cole Beasley. I know they brought in John Brown. They've added more depth in the backfield, guys that can catch the ball in the backfield. But if he can improve his own consistency, then his offense is going to look a lot better than what it did last year.
Yeah, Josh Allen was definitely my number one improvement that the Bills need to make it to the Super Bowl. You said 52% completion percentage in the NFL. That's just not going to cut it. Hopefully he's done a tremendous amount of work this offseason with his receivers, trying to get that chemistry there so that he can actually come out here and produce. If they have to include a couple of more read options for him to get his legs in the works, because it looks like he's going to be one of the more mobile quarterbacks in this league. He can do it. You saw the hurdles last season. You saw a couple of highlight videos come out that he was doing it in high school as well. If that's something that he needs to do to further his game, so be it. But Josh Allen is going to be the most important factor for the Bills going forward this season.
I feel like their special teams have to be special too. When you talk about a team, and in football in general, if you can win 2 of the 3 aspects of a game, you're going to win a lot of games. So you could win on Sunday offensively and special teams, or defense, special teams, or offensive defense. So one of your 3 can have an off day. But I feel like the Bills struggled in that area as far as the return game. They got some dudes back there that can return punts and kick. Poyer, Micah Hyde is a good one. Singletary probably going to be a kickoff return or a punt return to start as a rookie. John Brown can return kicks and punts if need be in a pinch. So if they can get the special teams to be special, that shrinks the field for their offense, puts them in favorable situations. And on the other side, coverage-wise, they can pin the opponent back deep and allow them to take advantage of a short field on the defensive side, and they can really turn up that pressure because their defense, I think, is excellent. But if the special teams can be special, the Bills are something serious.
That was going to be my next point. Their defense being what it is. They need to continue locking down the pass, but they definitely need to improve that run defense. They were first in the pass in the league. Now we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. That's not something that would pop to your mind that they were first against the pass last year.
They don't ain't walking through that door.
Nope, they were first. That's craziness. But against the run, they were in middle of the pack at 15th. Now, if they can get that, if they can improve that run defense, that's going to definitely equate to more wins for them, especially with that pass defense. And if Josh Allen comes along and puts together a couple more W's, that's going to equate big time for them.
But you talk about improving the run defense, you know what could help that out? Getting a guy like Ed Oliver in the draft, you know, to help step into where Kyle Williams is left. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a huge get to a defense that's already tough. Now you add a guy that can cause pressure from within. The Bills' defense could catch up to their offense this year in the AFC East. I have the Bills finishing 3rd in the AFC East. I think their defense will be phenomenal this year, so that'll win them a lot of games. It'll also keep them in a lot of games, but I can't put enough faith into Josh Allen and that passing game right now to really push him over the edge and get into the playoffs. So I see the team hovering around 6 to 7 wins, highly competitive 6 to 7 wins, with a chance if Josh Allen can improve, they can get into that 8 and 9 category. But right now, I think they're probably a year or 2 away from being that team. So that's it for this season preview. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the Playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to Football Gameplan Podcast on iTunes, where you can find our NFL All 32 podcast, our fantasy football starting lineup, as well as our Scout Team podcast, and leave us a 5-star rating. Also, subscribe to the Football Gameplan Network, located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Finally, every Thursday and Friday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to check out the Football Game Plan show on the Game Plus Network. Check with your cable provider for channel listings.